Hello, my friends. As you know, Make Prem has been our brand of the month, and it is finally time for those Make Prem reviews, starting with an entire video dedicated to 6 Make Prem sunscreens. As always, timestamps and links are in the description box below. If you are clicking this video and you are only interested in one of these sunscreens, I encourage you to check out those timestamps. But for the rest of you, we're going to have a little bit of an intro, and I'm going to explain what I'm going to do in today's video before we actually get into it. First, some housekeeping. Stylovana was kind enough to send over these sunscreens. I'm just going to say all of them because I believe some of these were also in the advent calendar that I unboxed a while ago. I will have my discount code up on the screen if you are interested in purchasing through Stylovana, and if you want more information on Stylovana, check out my big kbeauty retailer comparison. Now, as far as Make Prem and sunscreens, I really think that this brand is kind of viewed as a sunscreen brand for a lot of people. Here's a fun fact for you. Make Prem is the first kbeauty sunscreen brand that I ever tried. Yes, they hold a special place in my heart. But I think what's happened with this brand is they kind of know that they're a kbeauty sunscreen brand, and so there's now a ton of different sunscreen options through this brand. So what I want to do in today's video is, again, it's going to be a review of 6 products, but I want to make it a compare and contrast style of video. So I'm going to group all 6 of these sunscreens into 3 groups so that I can kind of talk about what's different, what's the same. And just to start out this video, we have one big similarity in all 6 of the sunscreens I'm going to talk about today. All 6 of them, be it mineral, hybrid, or chemical, they're all an SPF 50 PA4+ product. Which is impressive. I feel like in the West, we very rarely see mineral sunscreens go above SPF of 30, and yet these kbeauty brands are doing it. Another really great characteristic of Make Prem sunscreens is that this brand always provides the lab analysis of how their sunscreen performed. And I think that not only is that very important, but it's something where we've lived and learned the importance. If you all remember the kbeauty sunscreen scandal, Make Prem was one of the brands that did not have an issue with their sunscreens. They performed as promised, and perhaps it helps a lot that they do have these lab analyses. And of course, in a video about Korean sunscreens, one other similarity is that, in my opinion, these are all priced much better than Western sunscreen options. However, again, I'm skipping the price point in these videos because it's just too hard to track. It varies a lot. I was shocked, for example, at the price difference in this new sunscreen stick. This is $32 over on YesStyle, and yet on Stylovana, I believe it's around $20. One final note, to my nose, none of these products have a scent, which is interesting because there actually is a product in this video that does have some essential oils, just one, but I don't smell them. It's kind of strange. I even had Ara smell them, and she said there's some kind of a scent to it, but just not much. It's hard to make out what it is. And again, not strong in my personal opinion. I would guess these were all fragrance-free if I didn't read the labels. I want to make our first grouping of sunscreens what I feel is kind of the quintessential kbeauty sunscreen. These are both chemical sunscreens using those new, beautiful, cosmetically elegant filters, and actually these are very, very similar to each other. Let's start out with the classic that quite possibly many of you watching have tried. That is the UV Defense Me Daily Sun Essence. In all the footage I'm showing you, I'm using, of course, the 2-finger method to get enough sunscreen, and you can see how fast it is to apply this. This is a lot of product, and yet it's easy to buff it into my skin. It just disappears, does not leave behind a white cast. I do feel there is a shine factor with this sunscreen, which in all fairness is true of just about every sunscreen in existence. So I am actually wearing this one today. You can see I put a little bit of makeup on top of this. I really like to do that with these kind of a little bit more shine type of sunscreens, but if you don't like to do that, it still does kind of diminish through the day, but I think you'll still have a little bit more of a shininess to your skin, which some people like. And in a moment, I'll tell you what both of these sunscreens remind me of that you may have tried. Let's move on to this new release from Make Prem. You may have already seen me apply this in our new skincare try-on. This is the UV Defense Me Watery Capsule Sun Cream. According to Make Prem, what is supposed to be different in this one is that it should feel like you are applying this sunscreen in the form of bursts of water to your skin. But the truth for me is that these two feel very similar in terms of application. And I am not saying this in a bad way, this is in a great way. I love the essence and I also love this Watery Capsule Sun Cream. Fast, easy to apply, wear beautifully. I just don't really have any complaints with either one of these. My major note is that I think they're much more similar than the descriptions imply. The new sunscreen is the product that has some essential oil ingredients. I am admittedly perplexed, as perplexed as I was when we did the Axis Y trial. It seems that although many people on YouTube are opposed to essential oils and products, it does seem that there must be an audience for them. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you the side-by-side of these two sunscreens. My sweetie Ara lent a helping hand. Do you see what I did there? So we can see a real-time side-by-side of buffing these products into the skin. And you may see the same thing I do. It doesn't look like there's a lot of difference. However, in all fairness, you can maybe make out that the new Watery Capsule Sun Cream is actually absorbing a little bit more. And this makes sense to me because I feel the Watery Capsule Sun Cream is a little bit less of that high shine factor. It still has a shine, but just a little bit more diluted, which again makes sense because as you see, it's like it absorbs into the skin more rapidly. But again, both of these sunscreens remind me so much of something else that I am grateful that Ara again lent her helping hand so we could see a side-by-side with the Acne-Tree. Hyaluronic acid, watery sun gel, same SPF 50+, PA 4+, and you can see what I'm talking about. These are buffing into the skin the same cosmetic elegance, same kind of shine factor. So what I really think we have going on here is a case of if you like Acne-Tree, you will probably like Make Prem, and vice versa, and so this is great in the end because you can shop whichever one of these is currently the best price. That's what I would do. That is absolutely what I would do. Let's move on to comparing two sticks. This one is, I think, one of the most interesting comparisons in this video. We have the UV Defense Me Calming Sun Stick. This is actually a mineral sun stick, and it's actually one of my favorite sun sticks. Which is almost funny because I feel like I've griped a lot about not loving zinc oxide in my sunscreens, and yet I do love this one over makeup. Here's some Alice theory as to possibly why I like this over makeup as a sunscreen reapplication. It doesn't actually apply all that nicely. It's a little stiff. You see it tugging at my skin a little bit, but it's really good at not disturbing my makeup. And I suspect that stiffness is the exact reason why it's not disturbing my makeup, because it's not a very emollient sunscreen. Instead, it just goes over top of my makeup without disturbing it. Now again, I don't personally like to use sun sticks as my base sunscreen. I like to reapply on top of them. Lab Muffin has videos talking about this. She's such a gem to YouTube. Definitely check out her videos. So just for a quick reapplication without messing up my makeup, I actually really like this. And let's compare that to the new UV Defense Me Watery Sun Stick. This one is a chemical sunscreen. And maybe exactly as you'd guess, because we're not talking about astringent zinc oxide, we're talking about those cosmetically elegant emollient filters. This one is a lot faster to apply, and you actually feel like you're getting a lot of this product. I think this is good in some ways because if you're someone who is worried that a sun stick isn't providing enough coverage, this definitely feels like it gives me more, so it makes for a much faster reapplication. However, I don't know if you can make this out in that video, but I'm actually wearing a little bit more makeup and this definitely did disturb it. So a few things to note here. One is if you're wearing heavy makeup, I don't think that, especially an emollient sun stick, may be the best for reapplication. But again, it also may have to do with the type of sunstick that you choose. And again, some B-roll showing the differences here. What I do think is, again, just absolutely shocking with both of these is that even though we are talking about a zinc oxide sunstick on the left here, it's not leaving an intense white cast. Again, keep in mind, I have a fair skin tone. This is being applied on somebody else with a fair skin tone. So if you do have a deeper skin tone, feel free to comment if these work out for you. I just don't know. But I will say I'm pleasantly surprised with the zinc oxide mineral sunstick. And let's end this video with our final comparison. This is where we have the mineral sunscreen up against the now hybrid face and body sunscreen. So let's start with the UV Defense Me Calming Sun Cream with zinc. A lot of people choose this one because it is all mineral, asterisk. But is it really? Y'all, again, bless Lab Muffin for talking so much about this. This is why I say she is a gem to YouTube. She really is. Butyloctyl salicylate. See her videos for more information about that. That is a chemical sunscreen filter that never gets attributed as being a chemical sunscreen filter. How wild is that? That means we have just such a gigantic amount of people out here who think that they cannot use anything other than mineral sunscreens. By the way, I used to be one of those people. Absolutely, with my sensitive skin, there are some chemical filters I cannot use, but I'm so glad I realized there are some that I can. But you know, we have so many people out there saying, I will only use zinc, and yet they are using essentially a hybrid sunscreen, and they just don't know it. I hate the deception so much. So if you take that into account, this does make more sense in terms of how you see it apply. Now again, this is a mostly zinc sunscreen, so it's a lot slower to apply. You do see that white cast, you do see me having to take extra time buffing it into my skin, but in the end, it's not too bad. Now I do still think this one leaves a white cast. It's one of those things where it's not too visible, again, at least on my skin tone, but where I see it is when I talk. I feel like these mineral sunscreens that supposedly don't leave a cast somehow make my teeth look a little more yellow. Well, that's interesting. Which is all to say, I think they do leave a little bit of a cast. It's not as bad as some of the old sunscreens were. It's not as Mark Zuckerberg, right? And there still might be reasons you might choose a sunscreen like this, because one thing I do have to say about this is that in a big contrast to 3 of the 4 sunscreens we've talked about so far, I don't think this one leaves your skin looking shiny. In fact, I think this one leaves your skin looking a bit more matte. This makes sense because zinc oxide is an astringent ingredient, so oily skin types might really like this. Dry skin types like myself might not. Again, I can see this working out for some people, but it's not my personal favorite. Let's talk about this one though, because this is really in a category of its own, the UV Defense Me Daily Sun Fluid, a lightweight sun fluid for face and body care. That's amazing to see because now we are talking about 5.07 fluid ounces of product for about $5 more. This is typically about $5 more than these 1.7 ounce bottles. And it's face and body. So if you are sick of going through your sunscreens too quickly, you might really like this one. Again, this one is both mineral as well as chemical. This is a hybrid sunscreen and it's actually using titanium dioxide. I don't find titanium dioxide to leave as much of a white cast as zinc oxide. This product shouldn't anyway, as it is a hybrid. And I don't find titanium dioxide to be as drying. So I always thought that I personally do prefer this. I absolutely love this one. I will always have a bottle of this, and I'm almost out of this one. Because are we just using sunscreen on our face? I hope not. I hope we're using it on our body as well. I am. And so being able to get this and get, again, 5 fluid ounces of product is amazing. But where things get really interesting is we did this side by side. And these look so much more similar than I ever realized. I am actually baffled by this. This is not at all what I expected. They're so similar. And again, maybe this does make more sense because ultimately these are both hybrid sunscreens. What do you all think of that? Did any of you notice how similar these two were? It just really surprised me, even after this month of testing this brand. I didn't notice it until I saw that side by side. And my friends, with that, we are coming to the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you tried any of these? Are any of these your holy grail sunscreen? Do you agree with my conclusions? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you again to Stylovana for providing these products, and thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure you like and subscribe. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.